our school districts. I was voted on to bring the schools to the next level, to help the school system move forward. This isn't helping that at all. I can't see where this is coming to help us out.
Nobody is proposing, nobody at CBS is proposing to change anything.
Well, how do you propose to get this done?
Well, first of all, I'm not a spokesman here for CBS.
Walks like a duck.
That is an election for
No, the reporter said that. I didn't say that.
Okay. Bob? Is it you or
Let's keep it amongst the board.
Yeah.
When you're talking about Trent, I don't know if you read the Star Ledger yesterday, but they talk about how much money is generated from property taxes versus state income tax versus gas tax versus sales tax, and how in this state we rely a lot on property tax. And perhaps it might be more beneficial and cause less infighting amongst communities if the state income tax did more to fund our school budgets rather than coming out of my pocket, especially in the borough where we have no state aid budget.
Madam Chair, may I please be careful what you ask for. I don't care if you're a resident of Washington Township or Mendon Township. The last thing you want to happen is to have an increase in your gross income tax in the state of New Jersey. Let's just say, per chance, that they increased it by 3%. If you take 3% of the average citizen's taxes or incomes of our 5 communities, it will be a heck of a lot more than the $10,000 perceived difference that different communities are currently paying. It's huge. You do not, and that's one of the problems if this thing goes to Trent. Be careful what you wish for. Because if Trenton increases corporate business taxes, I'm going to be one mad corporate business owner. And I will be a stockholder of many corporations that I own minute shares of, because their taxes will go up and I will have less profit. I do not want to increase taxes. And if you increase sales taxes, it also will disappropriately increase our tax load. Sorry, but seriously, that's a danger zone.
I didn't say, there's a balance.
Yeah,
You can
be
get a
careful.
Sure, what I was misquoted somewhere on is saying that there is no tax that everyone will agree on that is 100% fair. Everybody, whether you're talking about a sales tax, a use tax, a property tax, an income tax, there is no tax that everyone will agree is fair. So, this is one of those disparities, and if you look at it one way, somebody's going to claim it's more fair than the other, and vice versa. And you go to the other extreme, and the people who are more affected will claim that the other one is more fair.
And that's why we have elections.
There are winners and losers in any change in tax allocation, and the losers will never vote to change the tax. Yeah.
I'd like to return to Jim's earlier comment. Having been associated with the district for 40 years and gone through, I don't know how many deregionalization studies, the viewpoint that most of us who live in the community who know what's going on is that this should be one large K-12 district. If you want to save money in your communities, you have one K-12. You'd end all of the duplication. You would standardize your curriculum. You would do all kinds of things that would benefit all of these communities. So if the real purpose is truly to better education, which I doubt, then you would look to form a K-12 district of all of the Chesters, Mendons, and Washington Township to run the most efficient district that you could possibly have.
Dave, the real purpose of the proposal in front of the board is to achieve fair funding, period, end of story.
No, it's to lower the taxes in Mendon Township and to raise the taxes in Washington Township.
Fair funding.
It's not my fault that my little hovel on the mountain is worth less than your house in Mendham Township. You chose to live in Mendham Township where the property value is higher. I didn't make that decision. I live in Washington Township. My house doesn't cost as much as your house. That's not my fault.
Since you have been with the district for 40 years, you said, you
correct.
may be aware of the history. Perhaps the other board members are not. This district was founded in 1958. And between 1958 and 1979, it was funded on a per pupil basis. That is to say, each municipality paid the same amount of money per student from 1958 until 1979. Then the legislature, responding to an Abbott decision in the New Jersey State Supreme Court, changed to disallow that type of funding and required that it be on a real estate basis. The legislature reversed itself in 1994, realizing the mistake that they had made. In 1994, they allowed in the law for it to go back to per pupil basis as it was in this district at the beginning, provided each of the municipalities voted in favor of it. The only thing we're asking here, is to give the voters a chance to vote on it.
But do you know the parameters of the vote, the requirements for the vote?
I sure do.
And they are?
Is that a rhetorical question? Do you
No,
know?
well, you can say, or I can make sure that the board all knows that.
I think I just said it. It requires a majority of the voters in each of the 5 municipalities
Of all
each-
of the municipalities. So,
To vote in favor, that's
if
right.
one municipality votes no, it doesn't happen,
That's right.
right?
And we cannot hear, the 9 board members here, 8 board members here tonight are not in a position to say how each of the towns is going to vote.
No.
Some
we're not-
towns,
we're not
for
taxing
example, in
everybody
Washington
either.
Township, there may be voters there who feel a civic obligation to carry their own share of the funding formula.
Occasionally I play devil's advocate. This is not really a question I need answered tonight, but how come CVS has not gone to their respective K-8 boards of education for the same funding formula change?
Again, like I said earlier,
That's devil's advocate. I don't want any hypocrisy. I don't like hypocrisy.
Yeah, what I said earlier is that I'm not here as a spokesman for CVS.
I'm just saying,
No.
out there to
Are
say
you opening it
people
up to
in
the
audience
floor to
receive-
have these questions
We are not
answered?
open to the public.
Because if you're going to ask questions and say, why can't we get answered, you won't allow the people to speak.
Excuse me, we are not open to the public.
He
We
just,
will
he
open
just,
to the public in a moment. Mr. Johnson was talking to Mr. Button.
Actually, it's a
he said there were a lot of people here, but I'll wait till the
There
public
will be
session
an
opens up.
opportunity, excuse me, sir, we are in session.
Just a question.
So, Jamie, if you are really interested in changing this, a regional district is a shared service. Like any other shared service, you negotiate a contract. If you're really interested in changing it, get all 5 governing bodies together and have them renegotiate. They negotiated back when they formed the district in the 50s. The state came through in the mid-70s and changed that. And then in the 90s, they opened up the possibilities for other districts. Since those possibilities were open, no other districts have been able to change their funding formula for just this reason.
Right,
So why
and-
don't you get all of the governing bodies together to negotiate a new agreement?
The voters of this district since 1994 have never been given the opportunity to vote on changing the funding formula, which is what the law requires. The law doesn't say the 5 municipalities come together and change
law
the deal.
requires a vote.
The law requires the vote of the people, and that's all we're asking for right here.
It doesn't have requirements about how you get to determining that, what that vote's going to be. If you negotiate, you might have other people who are interested in a modification of that, and you might be able to find consensus with all 5 municipalities. But by just, putting one formula out without even having talked to your other towns, your other municipalities, we really have no idea. You don't know what Chester Township's going to say tomorrow. You don't know what Washington Township's going to say at some point in time.
And you don't know how the voters are going to vote until you give them a chance to vote.
No, but like I said in the beginning, our job is to make sure that we consult all of our constituents before we make policies or plans, and I think this is...
Good, let's do that.
Okay. Yes.
Between now and April 6th.
From what I understand, all 5 communities have to say, yes, we support the referendum for it to get on. Washington Township.
No, not to get on.
Actually, these resolutions from the town councils mean absolutely nothing. The Board of Education has the right to put on the ballot.
Okay. Well, since there seems to be a lot of confusion, there's a lot of information here that I have to absorb that I think we just don't have yet. And we are going to have our attorney coming on the 22nd. I would vote right now.
Mike Calvert.
Mike Calvert to come on the 22nd. I would vote to table the motion right now until we can get more information about it.
Do I have a second on motion to table?
Yes.
Okay. Can I have a vote on motion to table? Aye.
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 No.
No.
Well, they can speak.
All right.
Were all the other members ayes?
Yes. Seven ayes. Any other new business?
This is kind of an unusual thing, since the towns have sent us resolutions. I'm inclined to present this one, and if anybody else is interested in it, I'm going to ask that a second. I'm asking, quote, the West Morris Regional Board of Education pass a resolution asking the governing bodies, Chester Borough, Chester Township, Mendham Borough, Mendham Township, and Washington Township, to place on the November 2011 ballot